Welcome to the Floored-U-Cation podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We're here to talk with contractors from all across the country about the issues that matter to you. This week's guest is Josh Crossman. Josh owns and operates PTL Hardwood floors in Yelm, Washington. Josh is kind enough to share his phone sales process with us and how he pre-qualifies clients to limit his time on the road and in their homes. Listen in to learn how you can up your sales game. Josh Crossman, are you on the line?
I'm here. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Welcome to Floored-U-Cation Pro. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. You know, you freed up some time over this holiday season for me. I highly appreciate that. It's definitely a busy time of year, and we got that fabulous tax man coming after us that we all got to get prepared for as well.
Well, I have a system for that, so I'm not afraid of that guy.
I'm not afraid either. You know, my stuff's organized by my bookkeeper, and I send it over to the CPA. But there's a lot of guys that are going to be spending some time here trying to figure out that box of receipts.
Right.
So why don't you go ahead and let us know who you are, what you do, where you are. Give us all that good info on you.
On that info. All right. So, Joshua Crossman, I'm owner, operator, head craftsman technician at PTL Hardwood Floors out here in the great state of Washington, located in a little city called Yelm, which is kind of on the west side of the state. We do mostly hardwood flooring. You know, we'll install some rigid core LVT type products, but hardwood flooring install, sand finish is our specialty. I am a NWFA certified installer, sand finisher, sales advisor, and a flooring inspector. Almost certified floor inspector. I got a couple little things left to do before that's official. And then my lead guy, he's also certified installer, sand finisher as well. And we love doing wood flooring out here. So that's pretty much what I do and what I'm about.
Awesome. Yeah, there's nothing like a wood floor in my opinion. It just feels so good under the feet. It makes it warms up a room. They're fantastic. I really truly wish I got to do more of them. You, sir, have an interesting way of qualifying leads instead of chasing leads. And I hear that you even charge to come out.
I do. That's correct.
You're crazy. You can't do that. No one's going to pay for you to come do an estimate.
I tell you, I love if I go out to your house and I come back with a consultation fee. It's a good feeling because that's a lot of contractors' attitude is you can't charge. I'm like, I just got $150 for half an hour of my time. It does happen if you know how to do it properly.
I agree. I know other guys that are doing it, and so I want to learn because I'm not there yet. I'm still giving away free estimates after 2 years. I still can't qualify people well over Facebook Messenger and text messages, phone calls. And I'm chasing tons of leads. My close rate's 35%, which I think is, I'm okay with that close rate. But if I could get more of the garbage ones out and sit around 50%, but I'm getting all quality installs and I'm saving a little bit of time and getting more time with my family, I would be much happier. So how do we do this? Where do we even start?
Right. Yeah. So, I said I'm certified in wood flooring. I went to a bunch of classes. I have training on how to do the actual trade.
Okay.
Sales is the same thing. You have to get trained, learn the craft of selling. There are books, there are courses, there are people that teach how to sell, and that's how I got involved into the system that I have now is I sought out education. I'm like, I need to learn how to sell better. And then in my pursuit of learning how to sell, I came across instructors and people that taught me how to sell from, not chasing down every lead, not going to every house. How to sell on the phone, how to sell over using technology these days to sell. It's a lot easier than it used to be. You don't have to go look at every house to sell a job. I think the most I've sold over the phone, I've sold a house for a $24,000 project. Didn't even see the house, didn't physically walk into the house, didn't shake anybody's hand, and got a deposit check.
Nice.
All over the phone.
I got to do that.
And so it can be done. That's a good feeling.
So
there's
real quick,
some terminology real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
For you that I noticed before I forget. So I do give free estimates. Estimates are free on the phone, over email, on the computer, because it's an estimate. The terminology estimate. I'm estimating, I'm guessing what that cost is going to be. If you want me to come out to your house, well, that's a consultation. And that's where you're going to get my expertise. And so that costs money.
Okay.
To get that service.
I like that. A clear definition and a differentiation between the two.
Yes. And that's something vital. And then also, too, if I do a consultation, I get paid for that. If I get paid $150, that's typically what I charge for an on-site consultation. I feel, yes, on one hand, I feel good. Hey, I got $150, but I feel bad because that means I lost. Because my goal is not to collect a consultation fee. My goal is to get the job, to get the sale.
Mm-hmm.
Consultation fees just helps pay for my time for going out there. But if I collected that and I didn't collect a deposit check, I failed. I didn't make the sale. So my goal is not, I don't want to collect consultation fees. I want to get 0 consultation fees and get all the deposits.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So are you writing, I'm sorry. Are you writing up the proposals right there on the spot when you go out for the consultation then, so that you can either get the consultation fee or you get the deposit check?
So we have a whole process that it's entailed. So a lot of times I'll get a deposit before I even go out there to the house. Or, at least a consultation fee that's non-refundable.
Okay.
If they decide to do the job, let's say if they pay the consultation fee, they're still not sure, that will get applied to the job. And I tell them that,
mm-hmm.
In the script, as part of the process, is so that, acts as a deposit too, as well. And so, yes, I'll even tell them on the spot. I'll at least collect either a deposit or the consultation fee, and then, depending on the job. And sometimes I'll collect 100% up front, because customers don't go to customer school. And when they see you and you're the expert, you tell them how it is, they just go along with it. So a lot of my jobs, I collect 100% up front. Okay. I get the whole check. And so, because I just, people say, well, how do you do that? I'm just like, I just say, okay, it's going to cost this. Pay me now. Basically, not in those words. But if you don't tell them, oh yeah, I need 50% now, and you get 50% when it's done, they're going to go for that. If you tell them, yeah, I need 100%, most clients will say, okay, here's a check, mm-hmm. credit card, whatever. Some of them will balk at that. They may say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm lenient, I'll, just feel the people out.
Yeah.
And it's a spirited conversation. So a lot of that, it's all the spirit of conversation, because a lot of times I'll have a conversation with the person, before I go out there, before anything, and we'll go through all that and things that I say and the questions I ask. But, I fill them out, and, with technology today, I can email them and say, hey, I'll send you an email. You can pay online, and we'll get this thing scheduled, put you on the books, and I'll come out there and just make sure, everything looks as we said it looks. Because I've been doing this for 20 years, and most projects, I can give you a price. I don't need to look at it, to know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
On my costs, I'll have, there'll be some variance in there, but mostly for, especially a certain job like refinishes, there's not a lot of difference between a 400 and a 600 square foot refinish. So if I'm off a little bit, I'm not really going to be hurting too bad.
Okay.
On that. So, that, just having that experience helps. Like installation, yes, some of those things you're going to have to really be on site to get a more accurate price. But that's why we do bracketing, when we're on the phone. We'll say it's going to cost, somewhere around this amount. But we should probably just go through the whole thing from beginning to end. So I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, and it might be a little confusing.
Let's start at the beginning. I would love to know, where did you go get sales classes? Let's start there and then kind of work through how you built this system and what each step in it is. But where'd you go and find this training, or what books did you read to really start developing this?
Right. So there's a lot of great sales material out there, and I still read and pursue a lot. I did a couple classes with Grant Cardone. You're familiar with him. He's a big sales trainer based out of Florida. He started out in the automotive world and into real estate now and stuff. So I started out with him. I did some with Dan Locke, another sales trainer out of Vancouver. I did some online classes. Grant Cardone, I read a lot of his books. He's an entertaining guy to listen to. I've read books by Zig Ziglar, a bunch of other stuff I have on my shelf from different people. Okay. So you pick up a little bit from each one of those guys, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I really honed in the system I have now, really got honed in what I got involved with. There's a Facebook group called, there's a podcast, which I heard first, and then there's a Facebook group called The Contractor Fight.
Yep.
And if you're familiar with Tom Weber, his goal is bringing, respect back to the trades. And one of the things, they have sales training and teaching guys the system, how to sell on the phone. So I signed up for their Contractor Sales Academy. They have, and it teaches this system and how to sell on the phone, and how to sell, just with pictures and using technology. Not running out there all the time, because we're a small company. It's me and another guy currently. Mm-hmm. I have a family, have a large family at home. We have a very large area that we cover. A lot of my jobs are over an hour away. And so just running around all the time, after you work all day, it's very exhausting to work all day, go look at a job, write it up, go home, write it up, email it, hope they call you back, find out that they decided to go with somebody else, or they just found out that, you're 10 grand and they want to spend 5.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I just wasted 2 hours of my time because this guy thought it was only 5 grand. It's really going to be 10. He has no clue. Mm-hmm. So, after you do that for a while, you're like, there's got to be a better way. And so the Contractor Sales Academy and really teaches you how to go through all that. So they have a program called The Bridge. If you go onto Facebook, you could sign up. Tell them I sent you. Be nice. But they'll teach you this system and teach you what to say and really help you where you don't have to go out running around all the time.
So do you have a script that you use at this point then? Do you have a little card that you keep on you and really help you make sure you're hitting all your points?
I do. Some of those guys, they're really good at it. I'm not as good with it, but I do all right. I think so. So yeah, I have a script that I kind of follow loosely. The main thing is, it's what, like they always say, it's the spirit of the conversation. you're having a conversation with the person. You want to really try to find out as much information as you can. And depending on the project, I want them to send me pictures sometimes, just so to have eyeball. Because I could tell, like I said, I've been doing this over 20 years. If I have a couple of pictures, I get a pretty good idea of the size of the space and what's going on and what I need to know. So, asking good questions, asking the right questions, and having a visual like that, I give a pretty good idea. That's how I can give a pretty good price. And most of the time, I'm pretty accurate on my pricing just based on that. I've even had one customer once, he's like, well, I can run out there. We're talking, and, you really wanted me out there. I'm like, I can't go out there. It's going to cost you about this. So I was like, once I see it, I can narrow that price down, give you a really good price. Because, I told him, like, yeah, it's probably, somewhere between $4,000 to $6,000 you're looking at.
Yeah.
But he really wanted an accurate price. And he's like, well, do you do FaceTime? I was like, I have to see it to give you the accurate price. And he's like, do you do FaceTime? I'm like, yeah, I'll do FaceTime. And he FaceTimed me, and we walked around his house. He showed me everything that I need to see, and I was like, okay, it's going to cost you this amount,
Yeah.
So we used technology, and I was at home. I said the exact same thing I would have said if I was standing face to face to him, but I didn't waste all my time driving out there, telling him that, finding out, that he couldn't afford it at this time, maybe in the future. And, we use technology. We leverage technology to save us time.
Okay.
And so that really helps. That $24,000 job I sold without looking at it, the realtor did a video tour of the house. I was able to go online, look at the video tour, see everything I need to see with the floor.
Oh, nice.
And then that's how I was able to give him a price and get paid without even stepping a foot inside the house. Like, I didn't meet him until I started the job because I used technology to see everything I needed to see. And we talked on the phone and said everything we need to talk. Everything I would say in front of them, I said on the phone. And so I saved time by not having to drive out there, waste my time, waste my gas, when I would say the exact same thing. Because if you're going, what are you going to say different in front of them that you can't say on the phone?
Yeah. No, I get that. And I mean, I like building a personal relationship and being there and meeting people, but at the same time, I did 26,000 miles or something like that last year. It's a lot of seat time for one guy. It's a lot of abuse on a vehicle. And, I've got kids like you, and I want to be able to spend time with them. So if I can find a way to free that up, then that's going to be tremendous. It's that much more time that I can either work on the business instead of in the business, or I get it with my family.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your qualifying questions? Like, what do you, when somebody calls you, how are you trying to, essentially you're really weaning them out. Like, what are you trying to do to find out if this person is qualified to be your client?
Right. Yeah. And that's what's key. Have lots of questions. So there's a few questions that are basic that you need to know information. One of the, let's see, let me look at my page here. Actually, I tell you, sometimes, a lot of times, like I said, it's the spirit of conversation. So these questions, they get weaved in and out of the conversation as you go. It's not like a totally scripted thing. It's like, okay, question number one, da-da-da-da. Question number two, da-da-da. No, these things, it's kind of loose, and you just go as you go. But you always ask, how long have they had to deal with a problem? Because one of the things is you want to deal with their pain. Is it pain or is it pleasure? Because are they getting the project done? Because this is not just for flooring, it's for any kind of project they have done. Is this a problem they're having? Did they have a water leak? Is something damaged? Are they having a problem, or is this a pleasure thing? Is this something fun that they're going to do? So questions in regards to that you want to ask. So one of the questions is like, how long have they lived with it? Let's say their floor had a water damage. Let's say, for instance.
Okay.
Well, when did that happen? How did that happen? Ask questions around that. Start building a story around the issue, if it's a problem or if it's the pleasure thing. Start asking questions about that. You want to ask them if they ever had that type of work done before. Because some people, they don't have a clue. They never had the floor, let's say, again, the floors be finished. A lot of people have never had that happen before, so they have no idea what the cost is.
Yeah.
Or what's entailed in that. They might have done some search online and like, oh yeah, we saw online it's like $1.25 a foot. Like, well, no, not exactly.
Well, you can go with them.
Right, yeah. So you want to find out, have they ever had something like that done before, whatever they're wanting to do. That way you get an idea, a frame of, okay, that help guide you some further questions to ask them. When do they want it done? That's an important one. Because if they want it done next week, it has to be done next week, and you can't get to it for a month. You need to know that information soon. So you can say, I'm sorry, there's no way I can do that next week.
Yeah.
What would you like to do next? And they'll say, well, okay, well, I got to find somebody else. Or they might like, well, yeah, I suppose it could wait. It's something you want to find out. It's a good pre-qualifying question, so you're not wasting time if it's something you can't even do. What's important to them about getting the job done? What are they looking? What excites them about it? What are some important things? So some people, they may want, is it the quality of finish? Is it the cleanliness of the job site? Is it communication? Is it timeliness? What drives people, the person you talk to? Because everyone's different. Mm-hmm. So you want to ask some questions of what's driving them. What's important to them about the project. Because you may think something's important, but they don't think it's important at all.
Yeah.
If you ever bought something and from a sales guy that wasn't a really good sales guy, he's trying to sell you all these points of the product, and you could care less about it, you can find that information out. Because some people, it's timeliness. Look, I need this thing done. I don't care. Just get it done. Mm-hmm. That's important. Time is important. So you need to find that out. What's important to them. What issues have they had with contractors in the past? Have they worked with contractors in the past? What things, kind of bug them about contractors?
Okay.
Questions like that. Find out, what their past experience has been so you can, better serve them. Sometimes I ask if they've gotten any other estimates and how many they get. And then, what are you hoping to hear from me that they haven't said yet? What are they searching for? Because, you're trying to weed some people out. Because, some people, they want to get 6 estimates, and they're just looking for the lowest price. And if you're not the lowest price provider, you just save yourself a lot of time knowing that question, the answer to that question. I always ask how they heard about me. That's one of the first questions I ask because I want to track how people find me.
Okay.
I don't, I keep a spreadsheet, and every call that I get, I ask how they heard about me, so I can write that down in my spreadsheet, and so I can look back and see, where's my marketing dollars being effective? Where's my time being effective at? If I spend a lot of time on Facebook, and I'm getting a lot of calls from Facebook, well, then I want to continue putting time into Facebook. If I was putting a lot of time into Facebook, but I'm not getting any calls from anybody on Facebook, well, then I need to change what I'm doing, or I need to quit wasting so much time on Facebook and find another avenue to generate leads. So that's a very key question. You gather that from everybody because not everybody is going to be your client, not everybody's going to be your customer, but everybody found you somehow. So find out how they found you so you know where to put your money and your time at for marketing.
Okay. Do you bring up the budget question?
Yeah, so the budget question, that's a good one because you do have to talk about money. That's later in the conversation. Um, there's basically five steps to the conversation you have. Budget's more towards the end because you want to gather as much information as you can before you talk about money.
Okay.
And I don't ask them, well, what's your budget? Because, what are people going to say? Have you ever asked somebody their budget?
Yeah, and it's usually, oh, I don't know, or it's some like low non-realistic number.
Right. Right, exactly. So you just say, well, we don't have a budget because maybe they truly don't know, or they're not going to tell you what their budget is. They have a pretty good idea, but they want to see what you're at.
Yeah.
So I don't ask them what their budget is. So we give them what we call bracketing. I'll bracket a price. It's like, well, we can do, after you gather all the information, you say, well, I could probably do that, for about $3,000 to $5,000 if we do this and use this type product. Or we can do like an $8,000 to $10,000. Which conversation should we have? Where are you thinking you're at?
Okay.
And so it's a roundabout way of getting to the budget. Like if they say, oh yeah, we're more like 4,000. Well, then what kind of conversation they have, what products to use, what to do. If they're like, yeah, we're thinking, more like, yeah, what's a $10,000 look like? Then they have a higher budget.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an offensive way to ask either. Some people get a little offensive with money when you say, well, which interests you? Which conversation should we be having? Let them. That's how you can get people to let you know what their budget is without coming out point blank and saying, well, what's your budget?
Yeah, you don't want to necessarily insult them and make them feel like they're cheap or make them feel like you're just after the money on higher end stuff. So I get it. And I've started being able to do that a lot myself. I started looking at my vinyl plank projects and I found that they generally ran between $8 to $11 a square foot. If there's a lot of tile removal involved, then you're probably going to start hitting maybe $12 to $13 a square foot. And so people can reach out to me now and say, I've got 2,000 square feet. What am I looking at? And I can tell them you're somewhere between $16,000 and $20,000. And they say, whoa, that's not anywhere close to where I want to be. And I don't, they ghost me from there. But it saved me going out and looking at the project, so I don't necessarily mind. And the people that are interested, then we can keep the conversation going.
Right, yeah. And you want to, like I say, you want to push that budget questions towards the end of the conversation. You want to know if they're your client before you get to the money.
Mm-hmm.
You want to spend a lot of time in the pre-qualification arena, basically, in the pain, the pleasure, get to know them, getting to know the project. Most of my conversations are about 20 minutes long to do a phone sale.
Okay.
I've gone up to an hour, just depending on the person that I'm dealing with. I've done less than 10 minutes and sold a job, depending on the personality type of the person. Because a lot of my clients are detail-oriented people, and they want to know a lot of stuff, a lot of information. But I have some clients sometimes that they don't care, they just want it done. And so you got to learn to pick up on that, get it done, give them a price, and move on. But you want to try to spend a lot of time just gathering as much information as you can, asking lots of questions. You want to spend more time asking questions than talking. You don't want to sell. You want the customer, the client, to be talking more, because the more they talk, the more information they're going to give you, so you can make a decision whether or not you want to do business with them.
That's good.
And the more information they give you, the better you can get your price to an accurate position.
Okay.
And so, sometimes I'll have them, they'll call me, and sometimes I'll go reschedule the call till I can get into a place I can actually have a lengthy conversation. Sometimes I'll ask them to send me a picture so I can get a good idea, after I have a few qualifying questions. If I need to see it visually to give them a better price, I'll have them send me some pictures if I need to. Like I said, a lot of times if it's a refinish, most of the time I don't even look at it. I don't even ask for a picture. I just get an idea of the size of it. So what areas need to be done. How big is it? Give me some ideas. Show me some pictures. So yeah, like I said, try to talk less, ask questions more, and you get a better idea of what the job will entail and what the people are like. Not everyone's your client, and after 20 minutes, you may have a pretty good idea. Like, you may not want to work for that person.
Yeah, there's definitely there's definitely those people out there. Your personality doesn't fit with everyone. And there's always people talking about how the best job is the one you didn't take or you walked away from. So I'm with you. It's good to get them talking. Like you said, they're going to continue to feed you information. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm learning so much right now that this is gonna, if I can put this into place and start working on even just a few of these things, I can see 2020 going much better for my business and freeing up some of my time. So just keep going, Josh. Educate me, please, and the rest of our listening audience. This is amazing.
Yeah, what's your? So you said your close rate's 35%.
Roughly between year 1 and year 2, I'm sitting at about 35%. Yeah.
Okay, and that's what's that based on? Is it based on all your leads or all the people that you've gone and seen? What's that close rate look like?
That is for every estimate that I actually type up and send out, I will land 3.5 out of 10.
Okay. But not for every call.
No, that's not including all the stuff on Facebook where people are just like tire kicking and price shopping, and they just want to know if, how much are you? And you try and ask some qualifying questions and they don't answer, or they just keep saying, I just need to know how much you are. And then you can tell them it's this much and you move on. So anybody that gets disqualified, that close rate is based purely on me showing up at your house for an estimate and measuring your house and then sending you the estimate.
Okay. All right. So I track every lead, and I base my close ratio off of every lead that comes in.
Okay.
Even if somebody just sends me a quick Facebook message, like, how much does this cost? I consider that a lead, and as a potential sale. Even if it's not even realistic, it's a potential is there. They're asking, sorry, that potential. So I'm at a 39% close ratio, but of that, I need to look at my spreadsheet, and I don't know that number offhand, what my close rate is of people that I actually see.
Okay.
Because if I actually see the person physically, by the time we have this conversation, they're sold.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a minor detail getting to meet them. Like I said, there's a lot of jobs. We'll schedule, we'll book, we'll get paid before I even meet them, before I even shake their hand. But they, that's so much more time than I'm saying, like you said, not running around after work. So, but it's important to track it. It's important to know so you can know, is this working for me? If you got a 35%, okay, I have a 35% close ratio right now of jobs going out. Well, try this for a month and see what your close ratio is.
Mm-hmm.
Does it improve? Does it go just tank? You're not getting nothing. You have to play with it and see. You have to track so you know if it's working or not. But I can tell you the system does work when you learn how to put it into place and you learn how to have a conversation with people and know what questions to ask. Because, like I said, some guys, they're really good at it. I'm just okay at it, but I still got a pretty good close ratio even doing it this way. And I sometimes I will go out and look at a job, mainly just because I like people, and there's some things I just want to see.
Yeah.
I'm like, like I sold a job not too long ago, about a month or so ago, and I told him on the phone, I was like, yeah, it's going to be about this. I talked for a bit. He's military, he's shipping out, he's retired, he's moving back east, and he wanted to get done. And I just had this sense with our conversation. I was like, you know what? I bet if I went there, I would get the full deposit check. So I was like, I got some time. Why don't I just pop in real quick? And so occasionally I will do that without charging a consultation fee if I have a pretty good idea based on the conversation that this is going to be a job. And I went there. I'm like, yep, it was just as I envisioned, just like he told me on the phone, because I've seen it 100 times. It was just a refinish of an old Ford from the 70s. Old Ford, nothing surprised. It was exactly the same thing I told him on the phone, price-wise. And he's like, you take credit card? I'm like, yep. And boom, right there. Done deal. So occasionally, just depending on the person, I will go out just for fun if I have the time and, I have a pretty good idea that it's going to be a job no matter what, or that's just a tipping point.
Okay.
Going out there. So, ebb and flow with it. If you're super busy, don't run out to jobs for free. Because then back to that consultation fee, that's like the last question or the last topic to talk about, because if they haven't kicked off yet, if you haven't detected a tire kicker yet, the consultation fee would tell you whether or not they're a tire kicker. Because if they're just a tire kicker, they're just shopping around, they will not pay a consultation fee.
Yeah.
And so right then and there, if they're say, yeah, okay, yeah, you got to take some finesse with it. And it's something you learn with some time and some practice. And like again, some training to really learn how to ask the right questions. Because you just, we tell people, yeah, it's going to cost $200 for me to come out there. You're going to turn them off, and you could lose a potential sale.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you have a good conversation and they are adamant they're not paying the consultation fee, you most likely don't have a sale, and you just be wasting time going out there. So it's like it's your last check of whether or not somebody is serious of doing business with you. And that's what it's for. It's not the point of making money. You're not making money off consultation fees. It's just to see, are the people serious? Are they serious buyers? Do they want to do business with you? Do you want to do business with them?
Yeah.
That's the point of it. And that's what you have to look at it as.
So,
like I said, if I collect a consultation fee, I'm sad. I lost.
Correct. Because you got paid for your time technically, but probably not as much as you would have gotten paid had you gotten the actual job. So at what point did you implement that in, and how? Because I'm sure before you were running around and doing free estimates and trying to compete like everybody else does. So when you implemented that, how did you change your mindset? Because I feel you've got to have a lot of confidence to do that and say, I'm worth it. I deserve this. And so this is what I need to do. So what was that like, just putting that into place?
Well, for me, it was just, I didn't have much of a choice. I'm like, I don't have time, literally just to run out there. And so I had started to do it before I found the contractor fight a little bit. Because I'm like, hey, you send me a picture of what I have a conversation with them. And I was like, let's send me a picture of it. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is easy enough. And after you do a few, and they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds good. And, the customer says yes. And it's like, whoa, this actually works. Like, I need to do this more often. It's like getting paid 100% up front. There are very few guys, even less the consultation fees, that ask for 100% up front. And I learned that from customers. Customers taught me that. Because I just hand them an invoice, and they just hand me a check. And when you get a check for $15,000, I was like, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
They hand you an envelope full of cash. You're like, I like this. Just ask. Because like the customers don't go to customer school. They don't know that it's 50% down and 50% on completion. I mean, some do. Some expect it, but the most of my clients don't know that. They just, oh, okay, here's a check.
Yeah.
Here's a credit card, or here's whatever.
Unless you've had a really bad experience and been burned by a shady contractor in the past. I get offered money all the time, and I'm a materials down and then labor upon completion guy right now, and I probably need to change that a little bit. Because I don't have an actual contract. I lost a job right before Christmas this year, and I was luckily able to fill it, but there's a learning experience, and I'm sure at some point I'll get somebody on here to talk contracts. If you don't have them, get one. Go pay a lawyer, get it written up, do something. But that's not the focus today. So it's, one of those things that they don't know. Like you said, they're going to do what you say needs to happen because you're the professional. And so we talked about it in other episodes where when Rowland was on, we were talking about how he was able to stand up to the television industry on Restaurant Impossible and say, we're going to install floors this way and we have to meet standards. I don't care what we have to do to make that happen, but we can't give these people bad floors. He was the professional. He stood up as the professional and set the expectations. And so even when you're collecting a check, you're setting the expectation and being the professional. You're not letting the client take over and be able to push you around. And I think that's a really big thing to pay attention to, that we all need to step up and be the professional from start to finish. We can't waver anywhere in between.
Right. You have to, they come to you because you're the expert. So you guide them on how the process goes. If you just run out there, someone calls you like, hey, I need to ask about this. You're like, okay, yeah, let me, give away my family time and run right out there. You let them dictate how the process goes. You have to be, you're the professional, you're the expert, so you tell them how it goes. You guide them. Not in a bossy way. Don't be a jerk. You're there to help. We're in the service industry. We're here to serve people. My clients take number one priority. But there's parameters to that. You're not going to get my family time. If it's not just for me, just because you need an estimate, you want an idea how much it costs to do your floors, you're not going to take away from my family time to get that. Mm-hmm. I'll go above and beyond for my clients when they're my clients. But, when people just get an estimate, they're not your clients yet. Mm-hmm. You don't have an obligation to those people yet. So you set the parameters in the beginning, like, well, this is my process. This is how it goes. But it's always customer focused. Your questions, the tone you use in your conversation, all of that plays a factor. You want to be helpful. You want to be the professional, especially when they have a problem. You really, a lot of people, they just want a listening ear. Like I said, I've had some conversations that last an hour just because I listen and I ask questions and I let people talk.
Yeah.
And, that goes a long way. So when you ask the right questions and you have a good conversation with people, it makes it easy to sell a job over the phone because you get people, they say know, like, and trust. People have to know, like, and trust you to do business with you. So the more you can get that to happen, the easier it is for them to go through with your process.
Yeah. And a
lot of times you can have it set, like have your website and say this stuff on your website so people know to expect it as well, okay. Hey, people go to your website like, hey, I want an estimate. How do I do that? And explain it on your website. Well, this is our process, Send us some pictures, email us, schedule a time to give a phone conversation. We like to have a conversation with you, ask some questions, and then, we can be more than happy to give you an estimate. Things like that.
I think that's what you said. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if you if you've ever read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which is a classic.
Yeah.
It's, he goes through a thing where to be a great conversationalist, it's kind of funny. People will think you're a great conversationalist if you just shut up and listen. So that's exactly what you're thinking. What you're saying is that we need to ask questions and get people talking about themselves and their problems and explaining their home to us. And they're going to think we're the greatest person in the world when all we did was sit there and lead them and let them talk about themselves. And then we can take that and use it to help us put together our sales strategy, because they're giving us everything we ever needed to know to sell them. Essentially, they're giving you all the inside information because you're sitting there and you're shutting up and you're letting them tell you what you need to know.
Right. Yeah. So, and like I said, this is a learned process. So we're not going to hit it all in this podcast. We're not going to learn the whole thing, in this hour. But hopefully you get a few nuggets to take away. But if you like, we can do a quick role play, and people can see what it sounds like.
Sure.
If you're up for that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, just pretend you're a homeowner and you need some floors done or whatever. We'll just make it up on the fly here.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
You got it.
If you're good with that, I'm up for the challenge. It's been a while. I'm a little rusty. It's been a slow December here. I haven't had many calls, so we'll see.
Yeah, no,
if I can.
We're good. And I really don't know how to go about refinishing floors, so it's perfect. All right.
So this, we'll just go like you're calling me for the first time. You don't know me or nothing, and let's just go from there. So let's go ring ring, and I'll answer.
All right, ring ring.
PTL Hardwood Floors. This is Josh. How can I help you?
Hi, Josh. This is Kyle. I have some hardwood floors that I think need to be refinished.
Oh, awesome! I can do that. How did you hear about us?
I saw an advertisement on Facebook that you put up.
Okay, great. So you said you have some floors that you think need to be refinished. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, I know that the last owners, when I bought the house, had them done before they moved out, and I've been in this home for about 10 years, and I have some younger kids, so I think they've taken a little bit of abuse.
Okay. So do you think they just look a little worn out, maybe?
Yeah, it doesn't have as much luster as it had before. There's some scratches just from the kids growing up. I've got a large dog. We don't always take care of his nails.
Okay. Some young kids, young dog, been there for 10 years. How long has it been since you noticed that it's really starting to worn? Is it starting to get worn out recently, or has it been kind of wearing the last few years?
I want to say it's probably been wearing the last few years, but I keep putting it off. It didn't seem like it was that big of a deal, and I just wanted the kids to get through beating them up. They're a little bit older and more responsible now.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Okay. What's what areas is the floors in?
It's my kitchen, the living room, dining room, and the hallways. Our bedrooms are all carpet, and then the bathrooms are tile.
Okay. What are you thinking about changing the color, or you just want to keep it the same?
It's natural right now, and I think I want to leave them that way.
Okay. Are you you say you have a couple kids? Are you married?
Yes.
What does your wife think about? Does she have an opinion?
Man, see, that's a good one, because most people might, I don't know, my wife would probably let me handle this because I'm the floor guy, but I'm not really a floor guy right now. No, we talked it over, and she's, they're natural right now, and that's what all our decor goes with. So we just want to get them touched up and looking good again.
Okay. Something looking good again. Do you know about what size, like the square footage is roughly of the area?
Our whole house is 1,800 square feet, and it's maybe a third of it, maybe a little bit more. Our bedrooms are pretty big.
Okay. I'm just taking down some notes.
Okay.
So if I pause for a second, that's what I'm doing. Just want to make sure I get all
Yeah, no problem.
down. Yeah, so where you guys located at?
Spokane? I don't, is that by you?
I know this is just a role play.
No, I know.
I'll role play real quick. But that's one of the things to ask, because, it's like, oh, yeah, you're 150 miles away. Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I can't, I'm not doing that unless you put me up in a hotel.
But because I do have, depending on where they're located, so, we're off topic right now, real quick. But depending on where they're located, that will affect my price. So I'm about an hour and a half outside of Seattle, south. And so if somebody calls me from Seattle or North Seattle, they get a higher price.
Okay.
Because of the travel time.
Yeah.
And my price backing. So that's one of the questions I forgot. A key question to ask was, where they located at.
Okay.
So yeah. So okay, let's get back into it. But all right. So Kyle, you said, I just want to kind of make sure I got everything here. You probably have about 600, 700, 800 square feet. Wood flooring through your kitchen, living, dining, hallway. Kind of worn out. This needs to be looking new again.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. And how many estimates? How many other guys have you talked to? Am I your first one?
You're the first one, but I went and I looked at your page, and I really liked the work on it.
Okay, what kind of things did you like that you saw on there? I'm curious.
There's a lot of attention to detail. You recently did a fireplace where you added in some end grain, like an accent around it in a border, and that just that looks like it took a lot of attention to detail and time and effort, and so I feel you put a lot of quality into your work.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah. So quality and attention to detail will important to you, sounds like.
Definitely. I like it when things are done right the first time. I don't want to have to deal with calling somebody back and having them come out. I want to get it done and over with.
Right. Done right first time. Okay. All right. Well, Kyle, if it's okay with you, I can give you a pretty good idea of what this will cost you. If that's what you're interested in hearing.
Sure.
So yeah, there's a couple different finish options we have, and we can talk about those when they come out to meet with you. But you're looking about $3,200 to $4,800 to do this project.
Okay. That sounds pretty fair. We've gotten a lot of life out of them, so a little bit investment to keep them going and really enjoy the house. That doesn't sound too bad.
Okay. What would your wife think about that?
I think that's in the range that we were probably planning on. It might be a little bit more, but to have it done right and know that I don't have to worry about something, it's definitely it's in the ballpark.
Okay, it's in the ballpark. Well, what would you like to do next?
Um, well, you said there's finish options, and so I don't understand that. There's not. It's not one kind fits all or something.
So we have a couple different options depending on the look of the floor, what you're looking for. Because not all finishes are the same, and the quality of finish, what you like. So there's, do you want like a European oil finish? There is. That's really popular. We do a lot of. That's no VOC, has a real nice velvety look to it, a nice feel to it. There's a water-based finish, or if you want something a little shinier, we can go that route. If you want a higher quality finish that'll last longer, we talk about those options. So that's why that there is some variance into that we can go over and bring out some samples and you guys see what you like and go over the details.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think I'd love to see some samples and really hone in on what is going to fit our family best. Just like, cause like I said, our kids are older now and a little bit more responsible, but they're still kids. And we do have that large dog that's kind of beat them up too. So I think I'd really like to see some options that are going to fit our lifestyle.
Okay. All right. Well, what I would like to do is send you over a contract online, and you can make a deposit, and then we can get you scheduled to do the work and set up a time I could come out there, go over those options for you before, we actually do the floor and see what you guys want to go with. Does that sound good?
That sounds really fair.
All right. Well, I'll get that sent over to you, and I'll give you a couple of dates, and then we'll go from there. And once you just fill out the information online, we'll, set you up in a consultation appointment and bring that out. Try to set up so your wife can be there as well, so, we can get her say of what she likes and what she wants, and we'll get this thing done for you.
Okay, sounds great.
All right. Thanks, Hal. Have a great day.
You're welcome. You too.
Bye. Yeah, I'm a little rusty. But how did I do?
I think that it's hard to pretend I need the surface, I'll be honest. No, I like it because you went through and, I made up wants and needs and you listened, you responded to them, you were able to answer the questions based upon those because you had taken notes. And I think those are all key factors. Like you said, you're getting them to talk more than you talk and explain exactly what they want. And then it essentially should sell itself because you're going to be able to give them exactly what they want.
Right. Yeah. Like, I was a little rusty. Even as I'm going through it, I think back, okay, I should have done this better. I should have done that better.
Mm-hmm.
My clothes one as well. But role plays are a little bit harder to do than actual real life. I always do better with the actual client because, like you said, you're trying to make up a scenario.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to make up a scenario as we go, so it's not completely real life. But the process is kind of the same. Like, I forgot to ask when you needed it done.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed you wanted it done this whenever.
Yeah.
Because you said, hey, it's been like 10 years. It didn't sound
Correct.
like you were in a rush.
Yeah.
So that's why I forgot to ask that question. But it is something important to ask is when you need it done. But I brought the, if you notice, too, is asking if you had a spouse and get the wife's opinion.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to say, he may be fine, or, natural, $4,000, no problem. And, if I'm talking to the man and then the wife has a say, it could be something completely different. You want to get the other party involved that's going to be part of the decision maker.
Yeah.
I know my experience, it's usually whoever calls me is usually the decision maker. Be it either the man or the woman in the relationship. It's typically man or woman, but that's not always the case. In this day and age, they may not be married, or, they may not have a spouse. It may be, it might be two men, it might be two women living together, it might be friends living together. There's a whole bunch of plethora of options that it could be. So you want to ask questions not to offend, but make sure you have the right information of who's the decision makers in the household. Because let's say, it's a pair of guys living in the house. You don't want to say, what does your wife think about this? Like, I ain't got no wife. You're going to offend them.
Yep.
So you want to ask questions like, okay, you said you had a kid, so I asked if you had a wife, and then because you want the other party's opinion. So you want to ask questions in regards to that relationship and get personal. And because you don't want that decision maker to be derailed. You get off the phone and you find out they do have a large say in the process. Mm-hmm. You got to make sure you know who's involved so you can ask questions in regards to that.
No, I think that's wonderful advice. And I haven't run into it too much myself yet, but there's definitely been times where, the women get to make the joke of, well, you're not going to decide anyways. You're just going to write the check so you can go sit on the couch as they sit there and look through the samples. So, no, that's all wonderful. What about, you said you read a bunch of books and stuff. What are like top 3 books you would recommend that we pick up to work on sales?
Oh man, that one would come because there's so many good ones. Let me think about it. So a couple of recent ones. Any stuff like I said, Grant Cardone. I love his stuff. He's just so energetic. I love the stuff he writes. Sales Different Rate. Let's see. Lee Saltz has a sales book. The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. That's a really good one.
Sit on my couch. I got it busted open.
Yeah, there you go. Jeffrey Gitomer has a couple books that are really good. The Little Red Book of Selling, the Little Black Book of Connections, the short reads. I do a lot of my stuff on Audible.
Okay.
When I'm working, I can listen to this stuff, when I'm driving, just to help get it. Let's see what else we got. Giftology by John Rulin is pretty good. And Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman. Kind of some different aspects of dealing with clients and that relationship with them. Not so much, a direct sales, but sales in a roundabout way. There's a couple other good ones, and I'm sure I could find a whole bunch more if I look through my whole Audible list of books.
Oh, yeah, just the keeps going. I'm with you. I learned very early on, luckily, that I've been listening to the same music for 20 years, and it's not getting any worse. It's not getting any better. It's just staying the same. And so I don't have time to go to school with the family commitments and trying to grow the business. So I popped in the headphones and turned off the music and started finding the podcasts and getting audio books so that I can get that education during the day. So I'm kind of doubling up, and I'm finally getting paid to go to school, because that was always the biggest issue with that kids have, right? You don't get paid to go to school. Well, now I do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You can learn a lot from books, from YouTube, from, Facebook, these groups. Like I said, the Contractor Fight podcast and the Facebook page and the Contractor Sales Academy Bridge program really helped me a lot to learn this stuff and to apply it in the different questions and techniques. So I always, encourage anybody listening, go to Facebook, go to the Contractor Fight Facebook group, get on there. It really will help you improve and elevate the level of contractor. And like I said, this is not just for flooring, it's for any kind of contractor. This process works.
Yeah.
There's all types of contractors in that group.
There are.
So get involved. And, that's we really going to learn a lot like I say, you may pick up a couple nuggets out of this podcast. I hope people do. But, you're not going to learn it all just off of this one podcast.
No,
you have to get involved.
There's so much to learn. And I recently joined the contractor fight. I haven't started the podcast yet. I'm still trying to plow through and finish the Tile Money podcast by Luke Miller. And in fact, if you're interested in getting to learn more about Tom Rebar, the guy behind the contractor fight, Luke Miller on Tile Money actually has an interview with him. And then as soon as I get through that, I will probably start cramming in the many, many episodes. And I believe he's been at it for years of the contractor fight. And I'll just start plowing through those, because there's not enough content to fill an 8-hour day once you finish a podcast and you only get one weekly episode. So making up that back catalog can go pretty quick in an 8 to 10 hour workday.
Right.
I absolutely loved having you on. Thank you so much for your insights. I think there's a lot to be taken away from this. Whether if you can implement just a few of these things while you're still getting out there and reading a book, or you're looking for some local sales classes, or taking them online, like Josh said, you are going to move your business much further as you continue to grow. So Josh, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know who you are again, how they can reach you, if anyone has questions for you or wants to get some insights from you.
Sure, yeah. And real quick before I dive into that, if this is something you want to try, just think about the conversation you have in front of a person and just put it on the phone. Think about what questions you ask. What do you look at? Just put it on the phone. And that's how you can get started with doing this process. And then as you do it more, you'll get a flow to it and you'll get more comfortable with it. And, before long, you'll be saving so much time not running around. But so PTL Hardwood Floors, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I'm in a lot of the wood flooring Facebook groups. You can find me there commenting on stuff, offering advice if I can. Instagram, I'm pretty active on. I do, if you do wood flooring, I like to throw a tip out every once in a while. If you search hardwood floor tips, hashtag, you probably find me on there. But feel free to reach out if you have more questions. Reach out to me on, message me on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm kind of all over the place. I'll hopefully be starting a YouTube channel here soon to start showing more info, more behind the scenes action of what we do. But yeah, if you want to learn more on sales, check out, like I said, the Facebook group, the CSA, the Bridge program. It's $179 a month to join that, and you will save and you will make so much more money that it is a wise investment.
That sounds great. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, Josh. I look forward to speaking with you in the future.
All right. Thanks, Hal.
You're welcome. Have a good day. That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floored-U-Cation Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you'd like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooreducation@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/flooreducation. If you need a discount on your tools, check out toolsforflooring.com and use discount code FLOORED for 5% off. Remember, your education never stops.